What? What? I know I'm late. You know why I'm late? Because the devil is always trying to get up in my business before I start. Sometimes right when we start, or during the course of as we're going and stuff like that, because he's punk. Chicken punk, man, just can't handle it. It's like he doesn't want a civil debate.
No.
And liberals are of their father, the devil. If you talk about we need to have a discussion, it's like you don't want no discussion. You just want to accuse people. And the devil's name just happens so means the accuser. Right? Satan means the accuser. And that's what liberals want to do. The second they come out and say, we want to have a discussion. It's like, no, you want us to sit here while you yell at us.
Yeah.
And accuse us of stuff. Making up a whole bunch of stuff. That's what you do. You don't want to have no discussion. You don't want these problems to get solved. You just got a whole bunch of emotional problems. That's what you got. And you just need somebody to vent on.
Amen.
It's really what it comes down to. All right? So already from the outset, of just before I even get started, the devil's all like, no, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench up in your stuff. That's why I'm late. That's right, I'm blaming it on the devil. He accuses us of stuff.
Well, the technical difficulties that go on before we try to do this fellowship is just insane.
Gremlins, man.
Seriously.
I'm telling you, it's like, dude, you would think, I don't know. I would like to think that I'm a guy who can learn from experience and who can learn from mistakes and not repeat them over and over again. I saw your mom and she says, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Mama.
I think I'm okay with like learning from mistakes and like learning from experience and stuff like that. And y'all, I don't make the same mistakes over and over again when I do this. And I test this stuff. And then we go live and wow. It's amazing. It's like I could only just, I don't want to sound like superstitious and stuff like that. And unscientific and untech savvy and stuff like that. It was like, dang, it's just like the devil just gets it. I don't know of anybody who goes through this.
No, I don't either.
You know, stupid stuff, like just stupid technical problems that we have, like before we, and you know,
just because we want to put the word of God out there, and we just want some fellowship, and
Yep.
we just have to go through so much to do it.
I mean, maybe in a way it's like flattering. It's like, you know, the devil just pays so much attention to our, to our stuff, just sends gremlins, you know, just like
our little fellowship here,
a legion of gremlins to just come and mess with our stuff, you know. All right, so, but in a way, y'all. Thank God these are our problems, right? It ain't like, you know, it's like some stuff that people in the Bahamas is dealing with.
That's true.
With this hurricane coming in there, and this hurricane, it ain't much of a hurry, is it, though?
Yeah.
That hurricane's like, what, it moving like 1 mile an hour, just taking its time, just blowing stuff down. I think I'll just post up here for a little bit and just whoosh.
Oh, God.
I don't have anything to do, I'm just going to whoosh. And take my own sweet time. They ought to call it slowy cane or something like that.
Slowy cane, yeah.
Slowy cane, it's like, but... You know, let's keep them in our prayers, y'all. It's
Amen.
you know, this you know, this kind of stuff happens. You know, this is Earth, man, and sucky stuff happens here. You're gonna have rotten weather, and you know what you gonna do. You know, the best thing you can try to do is just get out of its way, and if you can't get out of its way, just pray to God that you know you got something good to hold on to.
Amen.
So you know, let's keep that in prayer, y'all, and pray that Hurricane Trump doesn't come and stomp over everything. I'm surprised they're not calling it Hurricane Trump.
I'm surprised too.
Yeah, he's controlling the weather and he's coming in and he's just blowing all over everybody. But anyway, that's in the aftermath of this is going to be highly politicized probably.
Of course.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right because it has to do with the climate, it has to do with the environment, so it's going to be politicized somehow. You know, that's the real destroyer.
Yeah.
You know, as it comes in. So, but you know. That's just what people accusations in service of Satan, just accusing things, just making up stuff and accusing folks of stuff. It's like, how y'all doing, y'all? You doing good? I'm thankful to see my regulars and stuff like that. Thank you so much for showing up, and make sure you hit that share button as you're coming in. If you want to pick up the book, Solid Right Cross, keep up with the ZOPium Den, you know, stuff that your boy Zo is doing. Make sure you visit the website if you want to contribute and stuff like that. Help keep this stuff going because you know the message is free. Delivering it isn't. And we got that link up there, bronzeserpentmedia.com. Hope you check it out. You know.
Yeah, so we can buy more ice packs.
yeah. Trying to keep things cool up in here. So, and I know folks are a little upset. I don't really have much to say about it. You know, only it's not so much not to say because I've talked about this video. I've said a lot concerning illegal immigration, but you know, in the each thing that happens with it. You know, there's plenty to talk about. But the bottom line is that, dude, this is illegal immigration, and this is an illegal immigration issue tied in with a gun control issue,
right?
Things like that, you know, which I've talked about both at length. But you know what I'm seeing is, so far we have Garcia Zarate has his this conviction, no conviction, found not guilty for a gun charge. It's interesting, you know. I don't know what the liberals have to say about this. I haven't seen liberals going nuts over this, because surely the gun's got to be found guilty,
right? Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
I mean, you can't. I mean, the shooter, the shooter is never found guilty, unless you can. Well, the shooter is guilty of being a right-wing extremist.
Yeah.
Not so much being a shooter, but a right-wing extremist, which they are found to pretty much never be.
True.
They're never found. When you read their manifestos and stuff like that, it's reflective of left-wing ideology, communism, socialism, a form of collectivism and stuff like that. That's where they're coming from. But liberals, they're just they're politically dyslexic, y'all. They're blinded by their prejudices and stuff like that, and they choose to be prejudiced, and they don't get any of this stuff straight. You can't trust anything that they say. So, but in this right here, don't y'all think it's kind of interesting that liberals aren't saying, no, this has to be guilty. It has to be guilty because a gun was used. Mm-hmm. You got to at least put the gun on trial.
Yeah.
You got to at least give the gun the death penalty. We got to go after guns and pull them in and melt them all down as capital punishment for the gun. I mean, I know that I'm sounding absurd here, but their worldview on it is absurd.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, Zarate has been you know, let go on this one. And
is he going to be deported again, or what's going to happen?
I know, right? It's like, how can you, it's like, you guys gonna sit here and trust this guy, and he's been deported like what, 5 times?
Yeah.
At least 5 times. But you guys, it's like, you're gonna take his word that this was an accident or something like that. And, you know, but because of the events that have to do with this, all of a sudden, liberals are okay that a gun was used. They ain't making there's no big outrage about this. And you know, hey, he should be, if anything, I guess they're gonna be outraged about is maybe he should be returned to his sanctuary city or whatnot.
Yeah, he fits right in San Francisco.
Yeah, just go ahead back to contributing to pooping on the ground and stuff like that. That's another thing. That's another thing. See, you gonna take the word of people. It's like, it's no surprise. You know, this trial, I'm pretty sure, did it take place up in
I think so.
in the Bay Area? You know, was that the district that it was done in? Of course, they're gonna find him not guilty.
Yeah.
When people aren't guilty of taking a doo-doo on the sidewalk, if that's the laws that you guys allow up there, of course.
Out on the street.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course. There's no surprise here. All right, but that's what we're up against, y'all. And I caught wind of Fox News on this. I know. There's people out there who believe that I'm a Fox News junkie. I'm not.
No, you're definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I crossed that station on the way to turn to the channel to watch cartoons. I'm serious. You know, because all this stuff is, you know, it's tragic, it's sad, but it's like all cartoonish. Man, I might as well just watch the real thing. Yeah. I might as well just watch the real thing. Put me on some Looney Tunes. You know, it's like I'd rather watch the real thing rather than watching the Looney Left. And you got to watch out for them. You know, but this is, at least, you know, if I'm watching Looney Tunes, there's an excuse for these people to be so zany and crazy.
Right.
You know, so but I happen to catch some wind of Fox News, and I'm listening to Geraldo Rivero like make the case. You know, what illustration does he use? Hand me your cell phone, and he drops the cell phone. I'm not in possession of it. Wasn't it determined that the dude pulled the trigger, and he admitted that he pulled the trigger?
Yep. Yeah, he said he did.
And so, okay, if he pulls the trigger, but why? Because it wasn't his gun? Wait a minute. Because it wasn't his gun or something like that? Yeah. And because he's not maybe the rightful possessor of it, or because he wasn't in possession of it, he dropped it. That's his illustration. Give me my phone. He drops the phone. I'm not in possession of it. What kind of crap is that? Because I tell you what, these same people who make arguments like that, they ain't gonna make that argument if a freaking pit bull gets away from your leash and attacks somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wasn't in possession of my pit bull or whatever dog that you might have that doesn't have that's not well dispositioned. I don't want people out there to think I'm hating on pitties.
Don't pick on pitties.
Right? You know, but they're the ones that get a bad rap, so everybody's kind of familiar with that. I'm not trying to contribute to the bad rap of pitties. You know? But any dog that happens to get away from you and goes and attacks somebody, who are you going to hold responsible? The owner, right?
Yeah.
Who just happened to lose control of his dog. He's no longer in possession of his leash. Dog gets away, goes and bites somebody. Who you going to fault?
Yeah.
All right? So that's a poor illustration that Geraldo Rivera is trying to use, y'all. So, you know, like I said, this whole thing is backwards. Of course, you know, this all ties into the dismay that I have with our court system and these activist judges and stuff like that. Of course, their opinion is gonna be backwards on stuff. Yeah, this is no surprise, man.
Especially freaking San Francisco.
Right?
I mean,
Come on now. You know, so all this stuff is just, you know, it's going sideways. You know, we've been warned about this. You know, we've been trying to tell folks. You know, you guys you're in that group too. We're trying to tell folks the truth. And unfortunately, we either get a lot of, you know, people just want to ignore it, or, you know, just people resist it or keeping the truth from going out there like they do with my videos. And so now moving on to what's her name? Deborah out of Messed Up Messing.
I don't think she thinks she messed up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, true. Deborah, you messed up. You just messed up, right? You've been messed up, and you're messed up now. And y'all, I mean, there's a lot to unload as far as that goes. And pray for me because this kind of stuff, when you get down to the courts and stuff, this stuff makes me really angry. Well, I guess I shouldn't say angry, but I get irritated. I get really frustrated. Yeah.
Frustrated is the best way to say it.
It's really frustrating. What do I got here? So, okay, what did Messing do? She wants to make a hit list on conservatives, right? She's got this hit list that she wants to. I guess because they're attending. Trump is coming to Beverly Hills, and she wants a list of the people who are going to be attending that. For what?
All 5 of them.
Yeah, right. You know, and okay. So now, liberals, and I in the movie Runaway Slave, I warned of this. This is, you know, a movie that we did years ago with C.L. Bryant, and I said, Hollywood, you're gonna mess around, and your narrative, paraphrasing here, your narrative is gonna cancel itself out. And you're going to get to a point where even you don't have a voice anymore. Yeah. And now even Hollywood, you know, these big liberals in Hollywood are start having to look over their shoulders about, oh, am I saying right? Am I still adhering to political correctness? Yeah. You know what this is reflective of, y'all? And liberals, you know, if I might have any liberals watching, or if you know liberals, you might want to pass this on to them. Liberals, especially you liberals in Hollywood who are getting called out on your narrative. You're falling out of step with your narrative and they're coming down on you. This is a little bit of what Islam is like. It's a little bit of like what Sharia is like. What? You'll never know. You won't know if you're adhering to your so-called doctrine correctly or not. Wow. And you can be punished and it can cost you dearly because the standards always seem to be changing. Or you just can't live up to the standard at all. Okay? See, this gives me an opportunity to tell y'all how Christianity and Islam is so different. See, where you think that we Christians are such bullies and stuff like that, and we want a theocracy and we want to punish y'all for everything. Not true. Because here's the thing: in Christianity, we understand that we cannot live up to the standard. We can't. But we don't go and administer these sanctions or punish people for not being able to live up to the Christian standard. We can let folks know, it's like, look, you know, what you're doing doesn't square up with God, and there's an atonement. I mean, there's a punishment due for that. But it's not for us. I mean, there's certain crimes that we can punish people for, like theft and murder and things like that, or even up to capital punishment for like things like murder, specifically murder. Yeah. But Jesus is the one who took the heat for the standard that we can't live up to. Amen. Whereas in Islam, they will administer punishment leading up to capital punishment for things that don't even warrant capital punishment. Okay? Things that can cost you physically, not just time in jail. That's what you'll pay for in Islam. And in Hollywood, there's a standard that none of y'all can live up to because it's so inconsistent. It's a self-eating snake. You can't live up to your standards in Hollywood. You just can't. And the funny thing is that y'all don't even have any standards.
Right?
You got double standards. As the saying goes, if these liberals didn't have any double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. But you guys got a sick case of double standards, and you can't even live up to those. And you guys will eat yourselves in the process. That's what's happening to you. But that's the thing that you're talking about coexisting with when you want to invite in Islam and Sharia and being all politically correct and open to these people.
Yes. Preach it.
You want some of that? Really? I don't think you do. But you know, that's what you guys are setting yourselves up for. But, you know, and I see people like, you know, people, I see people like Whoopi Goldberg trying to admonish Deborah Messing. And good on you, Whoopi. I got you. I appreciate that you're making this free speech, you know, declaration.
Right.
I got you. But you know why Deborah Messing is doing the crazy stuff she's doing? Because they're taking leads from people like you. You're hostile towards conservatives. You're hostile towards us. You get out there and you fire breathe on your show,
Yeah.
and you've been cursing us ever since. And then and that's what you liberals do. You get out there. It's just like I say in one of our songs on Electric Exodus. I hope you guys get the album. Yay! It's available for you. I hope you get it. It'd be great. Oh, how wonderful it would be if people would be more supportive of this content going out there to compete with all the mind rot that's out there. But you know, yeah, it's like we conservatives, we gotta beg people. It's like, dude, trying to help you compete in the culture, get you some representation in the culture. All conservatives seem to want is political representation. They don't understand. Spilling my coffee, you guys getting me hot.
Oh, no.
You know, brother don't like to spill his coffee.
I don't think you need any more. Anyway.
I want every sip, baby. All they want is political representation.
Yes.
And don't understand that it's not stable without cultural representation.
Yes.
They don't get that. They don't get that, man, and it's heartbreaking. It's so sad, you know. So I'm listening. I'm watching this stuff take place with Deborah Messing and whatnot, you know. And it's like, dude, how is it that they're able to get this far, you know? And it's gonna get worse, y'all. Yeah. It's gonna get worse. I don't expect to change a thing. I really don't. I don't expect to change anything. Only thing I'm doing is just my part to warn.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. I'm not necessarily for the sake of, hey, I told you so. That's not what I want. That brings me no satisfaction whatsoever. I just don't want to be a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Jesus himself is the solution. He's the one who's going to come and ultimately fix everything, right? All I can do is just let folks know, it's like, look, y'all don't want to be on the business end of his wrath. That's all I can do. It's like assuming, because we already know that things are going to get worse. There's no stopping that. But it's like, I'm just trying to say, hey, let's not be a part of things getting worse.
Right.
You know, let's join the Lord in on his word. Let's be in that camp. You know, whether it slows down or speeds up, it's gonna decay. There's no stopping that. Let's just not be part of it. That's all we can do. You're gonna have people who are gonna choose. They're gonna make a choice to be a part of the decline, assuming that they're part of the solution.
Oh,
they will be the ones who don't know good from evil, bitter from sweet, light from dark. They don't know the difference. All right? And y'all, let me say this really quick, because this is something that we need to understand about the tree of knowledge and of good and evil. All right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil. What's the big problem with it? The big problem with the tree of knowledge of good and evil is when people think that they can discern between the two on their own. And that is how we get death. You get it? That's the problem with the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because when they were there, did they seek the counsel of God to understand what good and evil was? They listened to the counsel of the devil. They assumed that they could even know and discern between good and evil on their own accord. And the way that seems right to a man leads to death.
Wow.
That's the problem with it. And they leapfrogged over the tree of life. They weren't even interested in the tree of life. This is life, man. But they were attracted to the tree of knowledge of good and evil because they thought that they could have the power of God. They thought they could be on level with God, knowing that they themselves can discern between what good and evil was. That's how we get these problems, y'all. So we got a whole bunch of people out there thinking that they know what good is.
Right.
And they think they know what evil is. You got some people, some philosophies out there teach there's no such thing as evil.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay? That's how we get these problems. So, but where's our narrative challenging these things? You know, we hardly have any. You know, not in the places where we should be.
That's true.
So, you know, and I'm listening. So these people are able to get away with stuff like that, and you know, the challenge to it, you know, y'all, they're able to get away with what they're doing because who's gonna step? Like I'm hearing about these conservatives who are going to go to this Trump meeting. Y'all, even the term conservative is so loosely used.
Yeah, I'll say.
You know, all you gotta do is just, you know, oh yeah, I love America and I hate taxes, and you get to be called a conservative.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it takes. I hear about, you know, it's like I hear about this conservative movement in Hollywood. Where's the evidence of it? And I've met these conservatives that are in Hollywood. They're not conservative. People like talk about like Clint Eastwood, like he's just, you know, oh, he's so conservative. It's like, look, no disrespect to Clint Eastwood, but I'm sorry, dude, he's not a conservative.
No.
Not even close.
He's a great actor.
Great actor, you know, and I'm pretty sure he's a really nice guy. But he's not a conservative. And all he has to do is just say something halfway patriotic, and he's exalted as a conservative. He's pro-abortion, pro-gay marriage, pro-legalization of marijuana. He just doesn't like taxes.
Yeah.
That's not a conservative. You know? But these people, and there's so many in Hollywood, they're and y'all, that's one of the reasons why it's so hard for conservatives to make like quality content. Like, y'all, do y'all remember that movie that came out, David Zuckerberg, you know, wanted to produce a movie, and I guess it was supposed to be a movie for conservatives, a movie with a conservative slant. It failed miserably. It was horrible. It was a horrible movie. And you know why? Because it was inconsistent. It's like, dude, you got a movie where you got the actors cussing at kids and stuff like that, cussing in front of kids, like right from the beginning of the movie, like first 10 minutes of the movie or something like that. It's like, dude, how is this upholding our values?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, really? So, you know, if you're gonna be a conservative, you can't just be conservative politically, y'all. You gotta walk it like you talk it. It's gotta be in our walk, not just in our vote. So, you know, but you're going to make movements like this. If they're going to be so inconsistent like that, they're not going to have any integrity. Of course they're not going to do well. It's a mixed message.
That's true.
You know? So you have stuff like that. And that's right. Yeah, somebody said he's not a Christian either, because Clint Eastwood, he's not even Christian. You know, not necessarily that you have to be. You know, just be better if you would, because because Christ is the author of liberty. You might want to respect that. You didn't author liberty. The founding fathers didn't author liberty. No human being authored liberty except for the human being in the person of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Who is the word that was with God. He is the one who, he's the author of liberty, and liberty is the law with the Lord. He's the only one who can author it. So you might want to at least have some respect for that.
Amen.
But I don't even think Clint Eastwood has respect for that. So, but he gets to be a conservative.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. He gets to be a conservative. He gets to talk down to a chair. He talks down to an empty chair, and he gets the high praise of being a strong conservative because he talked to a chair that Obama wasn't even in. Meanwhile, Ben Carson dressed Obama down while his behind was in that chair.
Yeah.
But Ben Carson gets labeled as mousy.
Whoa, I never thought about that.
Ben Carson isn't tough. We don't think that he'll be tough. Clint Eastwood acts tough on screen in a movie and then talks to an empty chair. And he gets to be praised as a strong, brave conservative. Ben Carson talks to Obama and lets him know what time it is while his behind is in that chair. But Ben Carson gets called mousy.
Oh my goodness.
That's how screwed up we are.
Wow.
I don't want to hear this stuff about conservatives in Hollywood. I heard Katie Pavlich. You know? Sorry. I gotta call this out. You know, we used to be friends. She didn't talk to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe. Huh?
On you.
Yeah.
Interviews on you.
Maybe my big mouth got me in trouble with some people or something like that. I don't remember saying anything rude or anything like that.
You're not like that.
You know, it's like I don't remember. It's like I guess I'm a little frustrated now. You know, but you know, it's like, yeah. I mean, I remember when she was looking for internships.
Yeah.
She wanted to intern. I met her and she wanted to intern when I was doing Macho Sauce Productions. Now that she's got her place on Fox News and stuff like that, she don't remember me no more. She don't talk to me anymore, right? It's like, what did I do? Was I rude to you? Did I do something? No. But I'm listening to Katie talk about this 30-year movement of conservatives in Hollywood. There's been a 30-year movement. Really? There's been a 30-year movement of conservatism in Hollywood. Where's the evidence of that?
Yeah, please.
If there's been a 30-year movement of conservatives in Hollywood, then y'all should be really embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because what do you have to show for it? What do we have to show for it? You got conservatives that are terrified to say anything in Hollywood. You can have people coming out in drag, holding parades, changing their sex. You got people out there who are not afraid to go into the library, dressed in drag, and roll around with your kids.
Amen.
With kids piling on them, and they're gonna have their little cuddle puddle and stuff like that. They ain't ashamed to do that. But you got conservatives that are afraid to come out in Hollywood. That's why we're losing. That's why. It's like it's conservatives. I'm sorry, man, and because I know some of these people. It's like I done lost a bunch of friends in Hollywood, and I'm probably gonna lose some more. I don't care because it's not like it's helped me at all, and it hadn't been helping you.
I was gonna say, honey, the reason why, if there are any conservatives in Hollywood, I mean, we've met a handful, if that. They're not they don't even want to look your way because of what happened to you.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. See. If anybody thinks that I'm just because it's all about me, it's not, y'all. It's like, don't get me wrong, because I've taken it in the shorts really bad.
No, this is a burden that the Lord has put on your heart.
It sucks. I mean, trust me, y'all. It's like the stuffs that the obstacles and y'all, and I don't whine about it because there's people who've taken a lot worse than I. There's people in the world who are getting persecuted, bloody. So for me, it's like, who am I? But at the same time, in this land right here, in this land of prosperity, with all these resources and the freedoms that we have. This stuff can be ripped away from you. We can end up like those countries, y'all. And that's one of the things that saddens me is like, you guys don't think that can't happen here? Better wake up. I'm telling you, it can happen here. But it's not so much about me. I get discouraged because I'm looking at, conservatives who are afraid to speak out, afraid to say anything. And one of the reasons why is, well, one, because it's of self-interest. They want their career in Hollywood. They want to be able to work for these rich liberal producers and stuff like that. They want, that's the career that they want. I got it. They put their craft before the kingdom. I got that. Some of them call themselves Christians and stuff like that, but they want to be involved with these productions that are soul rot.
Yes, amen.
That's what at the end of the day, what's what they really want to do. They want to make productions that any liberal could make.
Yep.
They're the same, but they're better people because at least they love the country. But they want to put out the same stuff that liberals do.
Yeah.
They put their craft before the kingdom. That's a big mistake. Okay, but you got these so-called conservatives out of Hollywood who are hiding in the shadows. Meanwhile, you got these perverts that are coming out boldly. They're not afraid to hide.
Oh, amen.
But at the same time, maybe it's good that they're coming out because at least we can catch on who they are. But I don't know what good. We're not going to do anything. Political correctness will keep us from saying anything. Just like with these immigrants, these illegal immigrants. Oh, they're coming out of the shadows too. They've been out of the shadows. They go to work, right there, waiting to get jobs and stuff like that. What do we do about it? Not really much. Okay, the thing is that they stay in the shadows partly because they're only interested in their career. But they also know that nobody's going to have their back.
Oh, amen.
That's why they know what's happened to me. They know, and they see what's happened to me, and they're like, I don't want that to happen to me. So these my friends, they won't share my work. They won't even post pictures with me. They won't even do it. And the funny thing, and it's so bad, y'all. I've had people ask me to not post pictures with me and to do some promotions and stuff like that for their projects. Say, hey man, I want to get some support for your project. Here, I'll post this picture for you. Zoe, could you not post that picture of us?
Yeah.
When I'm trying to help them with their project, and I can go to my audience and say, hey, so and so is working on this. How about showing them some love? Get a buzz going for their project. They will actually ask me to not post their pictures. Meanwhile, they'll post pictures of themselves with Mike Pence, with Mark Stein, Bill O'Reilly. They'll say they don't want to post pictures with me because they don't want to give away their political leanings. But they'll post pictures of themselves with these other people.
With Mike Pence. Yeah, that won't give it away.
Really? So when people see stuff like that, they're like, dude, nobody's going to have my back. Why should I come out? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
What's in it for me for coming out? I'm saying, well, guess what? There's nothing in it for you.
Yeah, there's nothing.
But if you're interested in your country, that should be what's in it for you, because that's why I do it.
Amen.
My interest is the truth. My reward is the truth. My reward is the kingdom, baby. That's my reward. So, it's not all about me being all afraid to, oh man, if I step out there, I'm not going to have a career. My career is killed. My career is done. Okay? It's like,
Well, don't preach that over your life.
well, no. There's a reason why I say that, though. There's a reason why I say that. My career's been killed. I can hardly promote my band. I can hardly reach my audience. And it's like, I wonder, because I even try mailing them directly. Like people who've contributed to the tour, it's like, hey, dude, guess what? The CD is finally here. Hardly anybody is answering. But I think I've probably gotten 3 responses. 3. So it's hard to say that even if Facebook, is it really Facebook that's squashing my content? No, it's probably because a lot of people just say, you know what, Zoe, we don't care about what you're doing anymore. You're not of any use to us anymore. You're not of any use. But the reason why I say my career is done and career is killed, I could say that because I serve a God of restoration. I serve the resurrection. And if anybody, and he can resurrect my career.
True.
That's why I ain't so worried about it. But it does suck because I worry about others and why they don't come out. They're not going to come out. They don't have your back. And they're not going to come out. They're going to stay in the shadows. And that's why how liberalism is just going to keep on growing. Yeah. And they'll become bigger bullies. This can get like really bad, y'all. Really, really bad. And it's frustrating, y'all. It's frustrating because, like I said, when I'm contacting people directly and they don't respond, that's when I can't necessarily blame this all on social media. I can't just blame Facebook. I can't just blame Twitter. I can't just blame YouTube or Google. I can't blame them. But what it makes me reflect on is when people have told me for years as I was doing this, you're just a bootlicking Uncle Tom, and these white folks only like you because of what you have to say. But when Obama is out of office, they're going to toss your black behind to the curb, and they're going to forget about you, and they're going to latch on to somebody else. I heard them say that for over 8 years. And after Obama was done, guess what happened? So was I. What do you think?
Oh my.
What do you think, y'all? I mean, I want to know. So it's like
people to comment on.
Sure. I would like to know what y'all have to say about that, because funny thing is that after Obama was done with office, that's when my audience really dropped off. My audience was already falling by the wayside. I know that shadow banning had a lot to do with it. Had a lot to do with it.
Still does.
But I'm talking about. But when you start, contacting people directly, people that I've even broken bread with, that I try to contact, I tag them in my stuff. They don't respond. People that I've tried to help, when people are, they'll put out on Yelp that this person is a racist and stuff like that. And I try to come and say, hey man, if you want, I'll post your stuff on my website and let people know that, dude, you're not a racist, stuff like that. Do you think they get back to me? Nope. That's not even important to them. They have no value in that. Wow. That's not valuable to them. So it makes me wonder, is that what it is? It's like for years, it's like when I see people making articles, they'll make articles saying, black guy dresses down Michelle Obama and stuff like that. I saw that a bunch of times. Black guy does this, black guy. It's like, I have a name. Why do you put in the headline, black guy? Black guy does this. Black guy says this about Obama. Black guy says this about Michelle Obama. They can't call me Alfonso Rachel. For years, I was put out there by these different conservative blogs and stuff like that. Black guy. Now that Obama is done, you don't need the black guy anymore. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I've even watched Glenn Beck do it. I watched Glenn Beck use me as a prop. When they were looking for people for the Tea Party and stuff like that. He shows a picture of me. Black guy. What's this? Is that CGI? Is that a black guy? I have a name. And don't get me wrong. It's like, to Glenn Beck's credit, he's even supported our tour and stuff like that. But I'm saying that's kind of what went by, how the narrative came to be. It's like these people they couldn't even give me a name. They couldn't respect the fact that I had a name. I was the black guy. So for so long, I was the black guy. And then after Obama was done, the black guy didn't matter anymore. Wow. So, am I wrong? Am I wrong? And the reason why I say this, guys, the reason why they say this, like, once again, it's not about me. It's not about me. The reason why I'm saying this, y'all, is this is why conservative, so-called conservative Hollywood, they don't come out. The Gosnell movie, most of my audience doesn't even know I was in it. Do you think anybody on Fox News wanted to talk to me about it? No. People who are there on Fox News, who I know, they never wanted to talk to me about it. Most of the people don't even know that, like I said, they don't even know that I was in it. People out there promoting the Gosnell movie. Michelle Malkin, she was promoting the movie. I don't think I ever heard her mention the fact that I was in it.
And you guys are friends.
Well, I don't know.
Used to be.
Yeah, I don't even know
when
about
you
it.
mattered, you
Right?
guys were friends.
At some point, Kevin Sorbo, Sam Sorbo, they were like, producers or contributors to the movie, and they're out there promoting the movie. They never mentioned that I was in it.
You
it's
guys
like,
used to be friends with them too.
yeah, it's like, what did I do? What did I do to you?
I don't know.
You know? Oh, I forgot. I was only useful when Obama was in office. And then after Obama was done, you didn't need the black guy anymore. So that's one of the reasons why, when people ask, about the politics, y'all, conservative Hollywood, they'll throw you to the curb just as bad as liberal Hollywood.
Is there such a thing as conservative Hollywood?
I don't even. Yeah.
What do you think?
No, not enough to call it conservative Hollywood. You could probably call it not liberal Hollywood. At best, it's like, okay, there's some people in Hollywood that aren't exactly liberal or right of center.
Okay.
You can call them right of center because most of these people they're socially liberal.
Well, is that the best we can do in California, though?
In California, yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
I guess as for California, I suppose. But hey, I don't know, y'all. There's several factors. There's several factors that weigh into it. And once again, y'all, I'm trying to stress that it's not about me. I'm not whining about these people for my sake. I'm trying to tell you this is why liberals take the foothold, and this is why conservatives don't come out.
yeah.
They don't come out. Like one of the songs that I have out there, I've been trying to put out there, and it's a good song, y'all. Listen, matter of fact, I did 2 good songs with this artist, Lil Miss Daisy Cutter and Zombies on Parade. Them songs is good, okay? But the thing, and the person that I did it with, I did the songs with, she asked to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
She wanted to remain anonymous because she saw how they're squashing me. It's like, if you don't mind, please don't mention that I'm singing on these tracks.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, y'all. People not wanting to come out because they see how they do each other. Conservatives, they don't have each other's back, man.
Not at all.
They don't. They really don't. They'll use you for whatever purpose that they need you for, and once that's done, that's it. They don't really try to, by and large. I don't want to say that's all of them. You got some conservatives out, or people who lean to the right and stuff like that in Hollywood, who are doing some wonderful things. They're doing some wonderful things. But by and large, for the most part, they will leave you on the field.
Yeah.
They will talk. They'll talk about how much they love the troops and stuff like that, and nobody left behind. But they don't follow that example. They won't. They'll leave you on the field in a minute. So, and like I said, if I lost friends that are in Hollywood, well, I don't know if we ever really were.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of time to reflect, the past couple of years, and I kind of don't think that they ever really were true friends.
I mean, I'd have friends who I've confided in and told them, it's like, look, I mean, it sucks that, I've had people who've just treated me like I'm the closet friend. Yeah. I'm the closet friend, and they don't want me to post pictures and stuff like that, even to help them with their projects and stuff like that. And they'll act like, oh, that's awful, Zoe. That's so true. I can't believe somebody would do that to you. And I'm like, I'll be straight up with them. I'll be like, well, you did. Oh, but I have my reasons. It's different. I have a career to look out for. It's like, oh, well, your reasoning is the same as theirs. And all of you think that you're justified. You're all justified for bailing on a friend. You're all justified in staying in the shadows while liberals just grow in their bullying dominance. We don't have an army, y'all. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, not only do conservatives not look out for each other, have each other's back, now we've got liberals after us too. So
Yeah.
do we have any hope? I mean,
My hope is
our
in the
hope
Lord.
is in the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, for this getting the culture, getting our message to the culture.
Well, the reason why I would say yes is because the Lord instructs us to do it. If the Lord didn't instruct us to do it,
that's a very good point.
then I'd say we have no hope. But He gives us instructions, which means that you can apply this stuff, but of course it's for the purpose of preservation.
Right.
It's like being a life raft. Eventually, the life raft is going to run out of air. You just can't stay in that life raft forever.
Yeah.
All right. But there's certain things that you can do to try to preserve and hold on for a little bit longer. Hold on sanity. Try to promote sanity in the culture as much as you can. But you can only do that for so long. It's the Lord who's going to set everything straight.
Right.
Our job is to let folks know. It's like, look, we serve an awesome, wonderful God. You want to square up with Him.
Yeah.
Let's try to do what's right in His sight, not necessarily what's right according to what we think is right, but what's right according to Him. And you need the counsel of the Holy Spirit to have that discernment, so we can keep that going.
Amen.
And no matter what, we're gonna get it wrong. We're gonna do things wrong, but we don't have to do things wrong so much, But little by little, y'all, bit by bit, it's gonna decay. It's the Lord who's gonna come in and make all things new. And make it to where things are imperishable and not corruptible anymore. Okay? That's who I'm banking on. So, that being said, y'all.
I kind of have a question now.
Well, go ahead. What's your question?
So, Trump.
Mm.
I know you always say, well, Republicans, they don't go to these, liberal districts because Democrats have run them for the past, 80 years. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Republicans should bother campaigning in liberal districts? Should Trump even bother touching down in SoCal?
Once again, because I've heard, who was it? I think it was Brian, it was Kilmeade. Kilmeade was talking about, I think Trump needs to go into these cities and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Man, stop it. Once again, why are we dependent on a politician to come in and influence the culture?
Oh, wow.
We're supposed to have a cultural front.
Yeah.
These people aren't going to receive Donald Trump.
Right.
It's like conservatives, especially these conservatives who have their platforms. When are you going to understand? We're governed by our consent. These people do not consent to conservative governance. They're not conditioned to.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility on the at ground level and at the cultural level. We have a responsibility to try to get the people to understand and catch on to what conservative governance is, for them to consent to.
Yeah.
But no, we always think that it's a politician that's going to come in and do these things, while saying that government is the problem and not the answer. Guess what, y'all? Donald Trump is government.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, it's up to us to say that this is the representation, but we have to have that representation in the culture, y'all, before it can be stable in office. Yeah, he's making wonderful strides politically.
Yeah.
Even political, economical policies, foreign policies and stuff like that. Sure, that's great, but you got a culture that's unraveling.
Yeah.
So, great. You got the person that you want in office. It's fine. But you got a culture that's not cool with that. And it don't take necessarily a lot of them.
No, that's true.
All right? But, a lot of conservatives, that's a thing that they miss. And they're inconsistent. They're really inconsistent with that. Acting like a politician is going to be able to solve these problems while saying that government's the problem. Yeah.
That does seem kind of backwards.
It's very backwards. All right. So, but what should Trump? But the thing is, now with Trump, it may be a little bit of a difference. It could have been a different situation. It could have been more useful, because one of the reasons why Trump is president is because Trump did have that cultural connection.
Yeah.
That's why he was successful with his campaign, because he pulled that whole thing into his reality TV show wheelhouse.
Yes.
That's how he did it. So, when he had that cultural connection working for him, conservatives squandered it. You squandered it because you went all flipping Trump, I'm sorry, but you went Trump cult. You just did. It's all Trump. Trump became your cult of personality. Instead of promoting conservatism, you guys promoted Trump.
Oh, that's a good point.
You didn't make a case for that's what I've been trying to do all the time. See, I know a lot of the Trump wagon left me behind because I wasn't all pro-Trump and MAGA the way that people wanted me to be. Like the pro-Trumpers out there. That's another reason why I got left behind. Because my whole thing has been about promoting conservatism.
Yeah.
Not so much the candidate, not so much the politician, but conservatism.
Yes.
Is the thing that I've been trying to make relatable to the culture. If we had been doing that, people would have had a better grasp of conservatism, and Trump wouldn't have been so much of an offense to so many people. But we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Instead, Trumpers went all flipping Trump cult. And they're promoting a man. That's what they've gotten behind. And don't get me wrong, y'all, because I'll be happy to vote for Trump again. But you guys missed the point. You stopped promoting conservatism and you went out there promoting a person, a politician. And you guys mocked people for how they were with Obama because of that. You're inconsistent.
Oh, wow.
We mocked liberals for treating Obama like he's a messiah. When you conservatives are the same way about Trump. You're same. But Obama was as quite successful as he was in doing what he was doing and screwing up the country because the people were conditioned to be consenting to liberalism. The culture's been has been conditioned for that.
Totally.
And conservatives haven't been offering up a viable challenge. They don't support it. They don't support the supply and demand of those creative illustrations to get out there and connect with the culture with. Conservatives just don't do that. Liberals do.
Yeah.
And that's how they're able to do the damage that do you think that liberals have to win to be successful at doing damage? They don't have to win. Their objective isn't to win the country. Their objective is to destroy it. They have to destroy it in order to make it in the image of what they think that it should be. Their image of what America should be is a fantasy, but they have to tear it down in order to build it into what they want it to be.
Wow.
The objective of the conservative, the true conservative, is to preserve this republic as it is, what it was built to be in the first place.
Amen.
There is the truth about what this republic is, and there's a fantasy. The Democrats have a fantasy of what the republic is. First up, they think it's a democracy. That in itself is a fantasy.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Taylor made that point. Jason Taylor made that point. He said Fox News is always, their commentators are always calling us a democracy. We must preserve this democracy.
I've been saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great minds think alike. I've been saying the same thing. Even Fox News is caught on to it. They use the same language too. This democracy. I hardly ever hear them say this is a republic.
Yeah.
Hardly ever. I hardly ever watch, but when I tune in and I catch it, you would think that if sometimes when I catch it, it'd be like, oh, this is a republic. Nope.
Nope, never.
Democracy. Democracy and democracy. I'm like, that's when I turn the channel. So, but that's where we're at, y'all. These people are the patients are running the asylum, as the saying goes. All right. So, anyway, let's get on down to this reading.
Okay.
Holy Spirit, I need you to keep me in check here. We welcome you in the name of Yeshua, our high priest and king. We need your counsel. Help us to be that effective salt and light. Help us to do what and believe what is right in your sight. And help us to be an inspiration to folks. Help us to be fruitful and effective for your glory. And help this generation do what we can against, those in this generation who are, trying to decay the republic. Even with I know they feel justified to do it. And they feel justified even thinking that some people should have evils done to them. And that's why the word of God says, don't repay evil for evil. We don't want to be like these people. We know that evil has to be dealt with, but you don't deal with evil by doing evil to them. But that's what they do. They think it's good to do evil to us. They think that we deserve that. So, Lord, help us with discernment. Let us not be like these people. Help us keep the high road and, do what we can to glorify you. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all.
You have coffee left?
I still do. I'm nursing it. Man, do I have to dare folks? I dare folks to share this video with these high profile people who claim to be conservatives and stuff like that, and these conservative commentators who have lots of high profile and stuff like that. You know, is anybody gonna share it? No, it's like, no, people will share their other people's work with me.
Yeah.
It's like they send me videos and stuff like that. It's like, I wonder, so why is it so important for folks that I know about these people, but it doesn't seem important for folks to tell these people about me? That's
a head scratcher.
That's a head scratcher. I really appreciate that people value my opinion. That you think that it's important that I know about these. It's like, wow, well, thank you. I just don't understand, why is it that there's not that that reciprocity?
Yeah.
So why do y'all tell these people? Why do you tell me about these people, but you don't tell them about me? Right? Yeah. Anyway, there's like maybe like 4 or 5 people who do. Honestly, I'm just like, really. Yeah. I don't think I could count on 5 people, more than 5 people who will cross promote. They'll tell me about people, but they don't tell these people about me. I never see a cross tag, anything like that. Yeah. And then people wonder, say, hey, Zoe, I don't see your stuff anymore. Well, you don't help my work get out there. Yeah, I understand if the thrill is gone and it's not that important to you anymore, but I'm just, it's like, but I would like to think that the Lord has blessed me to not be a quitter. So despite my frustration, I keep on going.
You love your Tuesday team. Our
right?
Here.
Okay, let's get down to it.
We know you do, Glennis.
Exodus 15. There she, yeah, right on. See, I just one of those people I can count on, right? and we appreciate it. We do. It's like,
no idea.
It's rare. Even though I guess the rarer it is, the more you appreciate it. Maybe that's the lesson that we need to learn. Sometimes the more rare something is, the more you appreciate it. Yeah. Maybe if it was a whole bunch of people, I wouldn't be as appreciative anymore. But no, I would really actually appreciate it. More people would. Okay? All right. Then Moses. We're at Exodus 15, y'all. All right. Then Moses and Bnei Yisrael sang this song to Adonai. Sang it!
Are you going to sing to us?
It doesn't seem to have like the rhythm needed to really work that out. I'm pretty sure we can work this into a song at some point. I will sing to Adonai, for he is highly exalted. Darn right. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Adonai is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will glorify him. My Father's God, and I will exalt him. Adonai is a warrior. He ain't no hippie. He's a warrior, right? That warrior comes in the person of Jesus Christ. Warrior,
amen.
Ain't no hippie. All right, Adonai is his name. So let me back up really quick. This part where it says, he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. All right, y'all. So this is this kingdom and its armies, this power is coming after Bnei Yisrael. What that is, and these powers are represented by mountains and hills. So, for those who are of us who are familiar with the word, we know that certain things will be described, or certain objects are used to describe certain things. Mountains and hills are used to describe kingdoms, institutions of power, things like that. So when Jesus says, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can tell this mountain to get up and be cast into the sea. Jesus doesn't say things unless he has demonstrated that it can be done. All right?
Yeah.
This is Adonai. Now remember, this is still Jesus. Back then in the Old Testament, in the person of Adonai. All right? It's still him. So when Jesus talked about taking this mountain, saying, get up and cast it into the sea, Jesus had already did that with Egypt. Egypt was that mountain. And it was cast into the sea.
Amen.
Right? And it ran in there willingly because it thought it was going to be able to catch up to Bnei Israel. So God doesn't say things that, or in the person of Jesus Christ, Jesus don't say stuff that he can't back up. So, as we go on, let's see. Adonai is a warrior. Adonai is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army He has hurled into the sea. Interesting choice of words, right? Because that's what Jesus said.
Yeah.
Hurled into the sea. All right. Let's see. And his chosen captains have sunk into the sea of reeds. The deeps cover them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Adonai, is glorious in power. Your right hand, Adonai, dashes the enemy to pieces. In the greatness of your excellency, you overthrow those who resist you. You send forth your wrath. It consumes them as stubble. With the blast of your nostrils, God's got them hostile nostrils. You don't want, what? Getting angry, man. Hostile nostrils.
Why?
All right. The waters piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps became firm ground in the heart of the sea. We gonna get in. Okay, I'm gonna try not to go too far off into the weeds in this. Okay, let's back this up. The waters piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps became firm ground in the heart of the sea.
Wow.
Let's jump back to Genesis, shall we? We're gonna go there. I'm gonna get in trouble with the traditionalist again. All right, y'all. It's letting you know right here that these are the deeps, and what was the Spirit of God moving over? The deep. What was under the deep? Land. Right here is showing, it's telling you that land wasn't just something that God created to be under the sea right here. The land was already there. The waters were parted and it revealed the ground underneath. When you read Genesis, the image that people tend to get in their mind is that the ground was something that God created that day, and he called it land. No, God didn't create the land that day. The land was already there. It was something that he already called land. The word is just letting you know that that's what he calls it. But the land was already there. What was he moving over? The deep. Okay? Now, it didn't say that he was moving over the abyss.
Oh, that's true.
He was moving over the deep. All right? Abyss has no bottom. But the deep, that's something that you most likely measure.
Yeah.
All right? How far is it from the surface to the ground? Well, that term can be kind of relative, but at least if you know that it's deep, you know that there may be a bottom to it. If an abyss, there's no bottom, but it's not necessarily described as an abyss. All right? It's a bottom. So what does God do? Just like he did here, the waters were parted. He made a division between the waters, separated the waters from the waters, and revealed the ground underneath, just like he did in Genesis. He separated the waters and revealed the ground underneath. And he called it land. That's what was there. The earth wasn't created per se in these 6 days that people think that it was created in. The earth was restored because the earth was already here. It's been here. Y'all, please keep in mind, this is really important, y'all. Look at the way that these things are worded. In Job, it says that the sons of God shouted for joy when God laid the foundations of the universe. It didn't say that they shouted for joy when God created the universe. The heavens and the earth were not created at the same time. You say, yeah, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't mean that he created them at the same time. God is the beginning of heaven, and he is the beginning of earth. But it doesn't mean he created them at the same time. Were Adam and Eve created at the same time? No. Adam was created first, and then Eve was created. But it does say that God created Adam and Eve, right? Yeah. But it doesn't mean that he created them at the same time. The heavens were created first, then the earth. All right? But here's the thing. The creation was a process. You guys are I'm not saying you guys per se, but the traditionalist thinks that this creation period is how the earth was created. It's not. It's how the earth was restored. It tells you that right in the first, as you read it. The earth was judged. The Spirit of God is moving over the face of the deep. Why was the earth covered in water? Because it was judged. The earth was already here. The sons of God were there shouting for joy when God laid the foundations of the universe. What does that mean? It means that God established the laws and the fundamentals of physics that govern our universe. All the elements, the breakdown of the elements, all of it. When you look at the periodic table of elements and stuff like that, God is the creator of all those. And God is the one who orchestrated how these things will behave in the natural to bring upon our stars and our galaxies and our planets, our satellites and all that sort of stuff. All the things that God used, gravity, time, space, decay, all these things that God used, velocities and whatnot. All these principles, these are the foundations that our universe stands on. The sons of God, it says the sons of God were there shouting for joy as God laid the foundations of the universe. The universe took time, y'all. It takes time for all these elements to come together and to produce the things that we have that are situated in our universe. Okay? You know, but people, you know, it's like that. Y'all, if you can get that through your head, that's the real glory of God right there. The majesty and the power that he's working with to govern these tools that no man can use. But we want to just say that, oh, God created the world in 6 days. Y'all, there's no glory in that. The fact that he restored it in 6 days is great, but restored it from what? Restored it from something that took millions, maybe billions of years to render. That's, I mean, what, you don't think God has the time to do that? Laid the foundations of the universe.
The amazing thing is he doesn't have to take the time to do that.
You don't have to. But at the but what's even more amazing, but the mind blower is, that he's been around long enough to do it.
Amen.
You can't put your finger on how long God's been around because he's always been.
Amen.
Man, I don't know about you, man, but that messes with me. In a good way, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it feels like my brain is like, you know, when you think it's like, dude, God has always been here.
The uncreated.
The uncreated. He has always been. So, you know, God, you know, he could take his time. He doesn't necessarily need 6 days. But when it says 6 days, y'all, it's 6 days. It's 6 actual days. Yes. Don't even try to, I mean, some people say, God, Zoe doesn't think that the world was created in 6 days. I don't twist my words up. The 6 day account is actual 6 days. It's 6 24-hour periods. It says from evening to morning, first day, second day. We don't need to try to analyze, you know, how long that was. Was the rotation of the earth slowed down? Or it's like, no, God does not need us to mess with time for him. He doesn't need our help with that. Okay? But the earth has been here. The Bible tells us that. The Bible tells us that there were kingdoms here before, even before the garden was created. There was already kingdoms and trade going on. But they had become corrupted, twisted up, really super perverted, y'all. There was things going on here. Man wasn't here. Man is a unique creation. Okay? Created in the image of God. These things came after the judgment of the earth. The first judgment that we know of. Okay? Those things came after. But before Adam and before the garden, there was earth here. And there were kingdoms. And there was perverse trade. The word tells us that. Alright? So, reason why I'm saying that, y'all, is because I want to get the language here when it says that the floods, they stood upright and the deeps became firm ground. The deep, right? Spirit of God was hovering over the deep, and he separated the waters, and the ground was revealed underneath because the earth has been here. All right. Wow. Now it says, the enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall gorge on them. I will draw my sword. My hand will destroy them. You blew with your wind. The sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, Adonai, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, awesome in praises, doing wonders? You stretched out your right hand. Right hand. All right. You stretched out your right hand. The earth swallowed them. You, in your loving kindness. It's like when God lays down all this wrath and then it calls it loving kindness. You know why? Because it is. Justice for what your enemies have done for you.
Wow.
That's loving kindness. If God would have just said, oh, well, that's too bad for you, that wouldn't be loving.
That's true.
But God vindicated them. He redeemed them. He showed justice. It's like your oppressors, they're going to pay.
Yeah.
That's loving.
Oh, that is.
Right?
Wow.
That's love. Now, let's see. Ledger people, you have redeemed. You guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. When the peoples hear, they will tremble. Anguish will seize the inhabitants of Philistia. Philistia is wanderers, means wanderers. Then the chiefs of Edom, meaning red, and terrified trembling grips Moab, which is mean of the father. I think we know why. Mighty men, all of Canaan's inhabitants, Canaan being merchants, traders, and subduers, will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them. By the greatness of your arm, they become still as a stone. Still your people cross. Okay, check this out. Still, they become still as stone till your people cross over. Adonai, till the people whom you purchased cross over. To my Hebrew homies. Did you catch that? Did you catch it? What do you say? Till your people cross over, Adonai, till the people whom you purchase cross over. Now, we don't, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Do you remember God purchasing? You remember God purchasing them? I don't.
No.
I don't recall reading where Moses came in and made a deal. Moses made an ultimatum. Moses and Aaron said, look, man, let these people go or you gonna catch some heat.
Yeah.
All right. An ultimatum? Yes. A purchase? No. I don't recall a purchase being made. Matter of fact, when God had them being led out of Egypt, that wasn't a purchase. That was a jack. God jacked the Hebrews from the Egyptians. He didn't purchase them. This is very important. All right. Matter of fact, not only did God jack the Hebrews from the Egyptians, he allowed the Hebrews to jack the Egyptians too. They got reparations.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It didn't really matter much to them. Even with their reparations, they still weren't satisfied. But they were able to. But God made it to where the Egyptians were paying them. Here's take some money. So God didn't purchase nothing. He jacked them and led them out on a massive jailbreak. All right. But why is this important? For my Hebrew homies, why is this important? It says, till your people cross over, Adonai, till the people whom you purchased cross over. The only purchase that was made is when Adonai came in the person of Jesus Christ and purchased us with his life. Yes. This isn't a telling of what has happened. This is a telling of what's coming.
Amen.
This is what came. This is prophecy for y'all. God didn't make a purchase at that time of the Exodus. He made a jack. All right? The purchase came with the life of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, the Messiah. That's when the purchase happened. All right? It's on you now to accept that purchase.
Amen.
Accept the purchaser.
Amen.
All right.
What translation is that where you're reading where it says jacked?
That is the International Ghetto Hood.
No ghetto translation.
All right. Let's see. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, the place, Adonai, that you have made for yourself to dwell in, the sanctuary, Adonai, which your hands have prepared. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Once again, right there, as Jesus telling you who he was and who he is. Because what did he say? What did Jesus say? Yeah, I went to prepare a place for you.
Yeah.
Jesus wasn't going off into the future to prepare a place. He had already done it.
Yeah.
He already said it. That's why he said those things. Yeah, I went away to make a place for you. That's what I told you. I told you guys that like a few thousand years ago. I told you that. So Jesus is always pointing back to who he was, showing you who he is by telling you who he was. And Jesus says, "I go to make a place for you." Yeah, I'm that guy who was back in the Old Testament saying, "Which your hands have prepared, Adonai, will reign forever and ever." It just so happens that Jesus is a carpenter.
Right.
All right. So he builds things. He's built a place for us to go.
Praise God.
Doesn't the Lord say that my Father's house is a mansion? It's got many rooms.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about here the sanctuary of Adonai, which your hands are prepared. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Yeah. Right. Awesome. Yeah. Man, think of that. Huh? For Pharaoh's horses, with his chariots, his horsemen went into the sea, but Adonai brought the waters of the sea back over them. Yet Bnei Israel walked in the midst of the sea on dry ground. Wow. Then Miriam, the prophetess, the what?
What?
Miriam, the prophetess? How can that happen? I thought women wasn't supposed to say. I thought women were supposed to be quiet. According to Paul, women are to be silent in church. You women can't prophesy. Now here, something seems to be inconsistent.
Uh-oh.
There seems to be a contradiction in scripture here. Okay? So Miriam is given the distinction of being a prophetess. Meanwhile, Paul says that women are to be silent in the church. Okay, let's square this up. Because I know a lot of people struggle with Paul. And they think that what Paul is saying, is he's just offering his opinion. Yeah. And you can't take it, you can take what Paul has to say with a grain of salt. Okay, first of all, Paul, and I would say that some people maybe even think that it was a mistake. Yeah. That Paul's statements are not canonical.
Oh yeah, I've heard people suggest that, oh, well, that's just pertaining to the culture of the day and it's not canonical.
However, that is right. That what he is saying is pertaining to the culture of the day. But in order for it to meet the canon, it has to be culture. The cultural aspect of it has to transcend time. God would not be a just God if he only spoke to one generation.
Right.
This has to apply to every generation. It has to apply to every culture. And it has to be historically correct.
Yeah. Okay,
so what Paul was saying, was he saying it to this particular culture? Yes. However, do you think that what people were doing then is different than what people are doing today? No. It's not. It's not different at all. Okay? So you have some people claiming to be Christians who are okay with gay marriage.
Yeah.
And they reject what Paul is saying because, well, Jesus didn't say anything about gay marriage, which is not true. Yeah. Okay? But let's break it down to Paul. When Paul lets us know, remember, Paul's opinion, even if it's his opinion, it has to square up with the Word of God. Now, people will say that Paul was being extreme. Paul is too extreme when it comes to these things because Paul says that a woman should keep her hair covered. Oh, that's so extreme. Right. That's too extreme. And that men shouldn't wear their hair long. That's too extreme. Right? That men should cut their hair and that women should cover their hair up. Paul was being too, and that's a cultural thing in a generation that's what's specifically for them, not for anybody else. Wrong? I'll tell you why. First up, the idea that Paul is being extreme is ridiculous. You want to know what's extreme? Let's compare. Paul saying that women should cover their hair up and that men should cut their hair. Let's compare that to Jesus who says, hey, if your eye looks at a woman lustfully, dig it out. Yeah. What do you think is more extreme? Digging out your eyeball or cutting your hair? If your hand causes you to steal, cut it off. What do you think is more extreme? Cutting off your hand or wrapping up your hair? So the idea that Paul is being so extreme is ridiculous. He wasn't being extreme. And then when he's talking about, and why does Paul, and why, you want to know why Paul was telling men to cover up to not wear their hair long? He was telling them that because these men were transvestites.
What?
Yeah. What does Paul say? Effeminate males.
Oh.
Males who prostitute themselves. Homosexuals will not be permitted into the kingdom. Because these men, these transvestites, were wearing their hair long to pose as women. That's why. Wow. See, in that culture, y'all, homosexuality was a big thing. And so was men dressing as women. You ever heard the term going Greek? Okay? That's why. So Paul was telling the men, it's like, look, knock it off. Be a man. He doesn't. It's not so much. It's almost like that verse that says, "Don't tattoo yourself." People take that to mean that you're not supposed to get tattoos. No. You gotta understand the context of it. Don't wear tattoos and don't scar yourself for the dead, because these people were scarring themselves and marking themselves in thinking that they could communicate with the dead. They were offering. It's like a blood sacrifice to demons, bloodletting. That's why they were doing that. So that's why it says, "Do not tattoo and scar yourself for the dead," because it's witchcraft. Tattoos themselves aren't bad. God tattooed Cain.
That's true.
God's going to tattoo people in Revelation. God himself tattoos people. Tattoos aren't bad. It's why you do it. And it's the same thing for these men when Paul is saying, dude, stop, don't cut your hair. Stop trying to be a woman.
Yeah.
That's why Paul said that.
Because they were acting effeminate.
Because they were being effeminate. They were prostituting themselves. They were selling themselves to men. They were transvestites. That's why. And you notice how transvestite, the word transvestite, you don't hear that word anymore because it's politically incorrect.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They want you to forget about the term transvestite. They want you to forget.
Wow.
Because that goes along with the word of God. That's why Paul was telling these men, don't do that. Now, do we have that problem today? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right. So is it generationally relevant? Yes. Is it culturally relevant? Yes. What Paul says stands, and it stands on the word of God.
Amen.
Paul wasn't being some extremist. If anything, he was being very unextreme. The only extreme here is how ignorant people are of these things that was said and how it takes place now as it did back then.
Amen.
For the women, cover your hair up. Why? Because they were too vain.
Oh.
Do we have a problem with vain women today? Yes, we do. So Paul is saying, look, your looks are too important to you. Cover your hair up until you can get things straight in your heart.
Amen.
You're prideful, vain women. The same way we have with these women today. And if you're so prideful and you see these women out there trying to get all this attention with their looks and stuff like that, and then turn around and claim that they're being treated like sex objects. You see how twisted that is?
Yeah. Oh, amen.
They invite people to see them as sex objects and then go off on a Me Too campaign.
Preach it, honey.
That's why Paul was out there. Look, you guys you're screwed up. Cover your hair up because you're too dependent on your looks and you don't even use your looks right. You use your looks for the wrong reasons. Wow. Cover yourself up. Wow. It's like you're not ready yet. You're not ready. That's why Paul was saying that. So, to say that Paul was making these extreme cases, and why do I say that? Because this goes along with Paul saying that women should be silent in the church. There's a reason why Paul says that. It's because typically women have, this was spelled out to us in God's first prophecy to us. When he says that you have the desires of your husband, women are going to feel like they should have the same kind of power. Women are they're going to be seeking empowerment in the wrong things because they're going to feel like they have something to prove. They're not doing it for the glory of God. They're doing it for the glory of themselves. That's why Paul says you need to be quiet in the church. Because right now because you are speaking on your own accord. You are speaking from your own opinion. And your opinion is coming from a place of you seeking glory and being a woman. You're trying to exalt your womanhood. That's where you're going to be speaking from. And when that's the case, and that's pretty much all of you in this culture. I'm sorry if I'm generalizing you, but that's the way it's going to be. And this is not going to be a one-time generational thing. This is going to transcend generations. Amen. You're always going to have women like this.
Yep.
Be quiet. Because if you got something to prove as a woman, be quiet. If you got something to move, if you're thinking that you're doing something because you got something to prove as a black man or as a Mexican or or trying to prove something for your race as a white man or whichever, something like that, be quiet. Because you're not doing it for the glory of God.
Amen.
But women they're very influential. They're very influential.
Extremely.
They can upset the apple cart.
Yeah.
They can twist the man up. We saw that with Adam and Eve.
Yep.
Eve took the wrong counsel and gave the wrong influence to Adam. She suckered Adam. Did she cross her counsel by God? No. That's why she should have remained quiet with her own opinion.
Yeah.
Had she said, Father God, what should I do about this situation? That would have been something good. He would have revealed the truth to her. And then from there, she would speak. She'd be like, husband, this snake is bothering me. And Adam would be like, Oh, no, he didn't. Let me do something about that, baby. But that's not what went down. She spoke on her own accord when she should have been quiet. All right? And she influenced the wrong way. That's what Paul was talking about. Don't be trying to influence on your own accord. The word of God, the word says that the word was with God and the word was God. And the word came through a woman in the person of Jesus Christ. So it's not like it's a bad idea for a woman to have an opinion, as long as that opinion is the word of God coming through her.
Amen.
Because the Bible tells you that a woman can prophesy. Even in the New Testament, it tells you that men and women will prophesy. If the word of God is speaking, then the sheep should hear his voice, and it shouldn't matter who it comes from, man or woman.
Preach it, honey.
All right?
Good.
But you got to have the discernment to know who is speaking for the pride, from a place of pride, according to their gender, whatever genders are out there now. You got to know the difference. You hear that truth? If you're the sheep who is hearing the truth, you'll hear that truth come from a woman too. And you don't tell her to be quiet. You listen. You be quiet and you listen. You listen to the word of God. Okay?
Wow, that was good.
Let's see. So her song was "Sing to Adonai, for he is highly exalted." That ain't no lie. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. That ain't no lie, right? So then Moses led Israel onward from the sea of reeds. Then they went into the wilderness of Shur. And Shur is certain, isn't it, Zoe? Well, no. not in this case. Wake up, computer. Be like, where's that word Shur at? Sometimes I'm pretty good at remember what this stuff is. And then sometimes I just, there we go. Shur, it means a wall, an ox. Could mean a wall, could mean an ox, or meaning that beholds. All right? So we got Shur. But they traveled 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. When they came to Mara, which means bitterness, it's going to tell us, they could not drink in Mara. That's the name that Naomi changed her name to.
Yeah.
Changed her name to Mara because she had become bitter. All right? Let's see. Mara. Let's see. They could not drink from the waters because they were bitter. On account of this, it was called Mara. So the people complained to Moses. Playing again. Dang, Ronan. What are we going to drink? So he cried out to Adonai, and Adonai showed him a tree. When he threw it into the waters, they were made sweet. Let's see. I don't know. For some reason right there I'm picturing, okay, we got, when I think of a tree, I think of a fig tree. I think of the Lord who was hung on a tree. Yeah. These tree things start to come to mind. And when Jesus, let's see, they threw it into the waters. When the Lord was baptized, the sweetness of the Lord, the sweetness of the Lord, come down like a dove, and say, this is my son, who was well pleased with, yeah, I'm so, that's probably a really sweet moment.
We got you to sing. Oh, dear.
All right. So he cried out to Adonai, and Adonai I read that already. Unless you guys want me to sing it again. No,
Please.
There he made a statute and an ordinance for them. And there he tested them. He said, if you diligently listen to the voice of Adonai your God, do what is right in his eyes, pay attention to his mitzvot, and keep all his decrees, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have put on the Egyptians. You ain't gonna get AIDS. All right? For I am Adonai who heals you. Then, interesting. I will put none of these diseases on you which I have put on the Egyptians, for I am Adonai who heals you. Now the Lord is saying, I won't put any diseases on you. Why would he need to heal us if he hadn't put the disease on us?
Yeah.
Why would he need to do that? So that's a weird way to put it. But remember, y'all, when Jesus comes in, what does Jesus heal us from? Sin. That's the thing that he takes away. That's our big sickness. So you don't even have to necessarily have a disease. But even though you don't have a disease, guess what? You still need healing.
Amen.
Right? And that's what the Lord, that's why he specifically comes in and says, yeah, I'm going to heal you of your sin. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right, he's still talking to us. Even from back then, he's talking to us. All right. And lastly, last verse. Then they came to Elim. Elim's, what was that word again? I hope I can find it. I'm bad at keeping notes and being organized and stuff like that. I know, maybe if I press the find button, it'll go right to it. I should learn to do that. Elim. Oh, there we go. Elim, strong trees. Rams, strong stags. That's what Elim means.
Wow.
All right. Where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. They sound like they camped out in Palm Springs.
Right.
or Florida or something like that. So they camped there by the waters. All right, y'all. Here it is. Exodus 15.
Woo! Beautiful song.
Thank you guys going there.
By a female prop.
Hanging in there with us in the ZOPium Den and also my pre-study ramblings. I hope they were still useful somehow. And I dare you guys to share it.
I think it's useful because it's a fellowship with our Tuesday team members, and you kind of, it's like therapy for you, I think.
Yeah, so it sounds like you need some therapy, bro.
No. It is therapy for
Ain't no
you.
lie.
What is that? So there's some debate going on about men and long hair now. Glynis made the very valid point that she can't even handle looking at a man bun. Glynis, I totally agree. I'm in SoCal, so I see men, these like lanky, effeminate men in the grocery store who are straight. They're like the manly men of Southern California. But they're very effeminate and they've got man buns, and it's just like, it's revolting.
Yeah, okay, let me say this about the dork knob.
The dork knob, yeah, that's what the man bun is, the dork knob.
Okay, now you guys know that I'm a martial artist. All right, I study martial arts, taught martial arts, and I'm not as offended by the man bun as a lot of people are. Because that was kind of like like say for instance for your Japanese warriors.
Oh yeah.
They would put their hair up. You don't want your hair to get in the way, but they sometimes they would wear they would wear their hair long. But here's the thing: these people were warriors. These aren't the kind of people that you want to go and tell you what's up with that man bun. You'll get dismembered. All right. So there were people who were quite hardcore.
Yeah.
Who could put their hair up in a bun. And they could back it up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to cross these people. But this man bun thing that people are wearing today, I don't know if they've got that kind of, gusto.
No.
It's a whole different thing. So when I see these people wearing a man bun, it's like, yeah. I was like, man, yeah. I don't have the same kind of respect for people. It's like, if I still had my dreads, like I used to have long hair.
Yeah, I put in the feed that Zoe used to have long dreadlocks. Quite cute.
Now, I don't know if I don't think I've ever situated my hair in a man bun per se.
I don't know if I would have dated you.
Yeah. Even though when I met Carrie, my hair was pink.
Yeah, well, that's true. Very, very true. He was a hot mess.
Yeah, a hot pink mess in my hair. So
But
anyway,
you wore combat boots, so
that's right.
Made it better.
That was funny thing because I'm wearing combat boots, bro. And but at any rate. I don't think I ever situated my hair in a man bun. I pull it back in a ponytail and stuff like that. So like when it was, we would spar and we would practice, fighting and whatnot. That's how I kept, my hair out of the way to some degree. Sometimes, it's just not as efficient. Sometimes you'll get people who will braid their hair, and whatnot. Yeah. And but the man bun has just been a way that people have come to like, keep their hair out of the way, and and I understand that, And like I said, I give a little bit more leniency towards the man bun because, warriors have worn their hair like that.
Yeah.
And these are warriors that you did not want to mess with. So, but like I said, but bearing in mind of, people doing it today, it just doesn't carry the same weight. So, there's that.
There's a slight exception. Sandy Marie's grandson, who is an Apache Indian, he wears his hair long. And I know Indian people as well, different tribes, and the men will wear their hair long. It's part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's manly, that's normal and acceptable.
Yeah.
But the man bun thing,
right. Yeah, especially in this age where homosexuality is just has become like, the thing. But, that's a difficult thing to say too, because there's been, that's been throughout history, that's been throughout history,
yeah.
and so but today, you know, when people are doing it, where it's just like, you know, this kind of fashion that people do it, you know, I don't know.
Personally, how come you grew your hair out?
When I liked having long hair. Yeah, I liked to, you know, I play rock and roll, man. I wanted to have my locks. Sometimes I think, you know, admittedly, if you guys ever see me with long hair again, it's probably because I become satisfied with one of those hair restorations things. If I become satisfied where it's like, okay, I think you guys can do a pretty convincing job without messing my scalp up. Of course, if I had the income, if I had the money, you know, I would probably do it. People are like, Zoe, I ain't wasting no more money on you and your vanity and stuff like that.
I don't think
you guys want me to look good, don't you? Right? No, priorities. Brother got priorities. If I had that kind of surplus, then maybe I would do that kind of recourse. But yeah, I enjoyed having, you know, long hair. I enjoyed having my dreads.
Amen.
You know, I'd probably grow my dread and grow my beard. You know, grow my beard back more. But you know, I used to have my beard was like, man, my beard was like
That's
this long.
True.
Yeah, yeah. I grew like the Pharaoh's beard. I had my beard that was like down to here. And I play rock and roll, man, rocker. And it's like, because I don't like one of the things I don't like the idea that, you know, conservatives have to be a bunch of stiff suits.
Yeah.
You know, we're just, you know, we're ordinary people too, but we understand something, you know, understand what liberty is and the responsibilities that we have with liberty and whatnot. And, you know, I don't think it's crossing the line too much to, you know, have long hair. Long hair is not the issue. It's how you use it. Okay? And Paul's issue with long hair was that these people were using it for being a transvestite. Yeah, Paul was, you know, concerned that these men were trying to make themselves look like women, and they were prostituting themselves to men. That's why Paul had the issue with long hair. Other than that, long hair is not a problem.
Yeah.
All right? Jesus, you know, he did take the Nazarite vow. You know that, right? Which means he had long hair.
Oh, because he took the Nazarite vow.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't he take that at the end of his?
But even before that, though, his hair was already, you know, it says that he had hair like sheep's wool.
Yeah.
He already had lengthy hair. You know, he already had a long beard. Didn't the word say that they tore his beard? Yeah. They must have been able to get a hold of it, right?
Wow.
Like, I got a beard, but you can't really get a good hold of it.
That's true.
You want to get a good hold, he has to grow it out a little bit. All right? So Jesus was, you know, he's kind of furry. You know, he had some hair. All right? So at any rate, yeah, wow. Long hair isn't the issue. It's how you use it.
I'm going to ask Glennis, I looked up verse Deuteronomy 19:19. Can you double check if that's the verse that you want me to discuss with this intermarriage racial question? Because I do want to ask it of Zoe, but I've read it and I'm not sure if, I don't know how that pertains to the question. So just look at that real quick, Glennis, for me, please. And then here's another question that we'll go over. Tim Clear, he says, the red flag laws, if Trump support these red flag laws, you know, like your psychology, are you on antidepressants, and looking at your background before you can buy a gun. He says, if Trump starts supporting these red flag laws, they can be abused.
That's right.
These laws. And he says, I don't think I can support Trump because our gun rights are going to go away, because we'll be the ones who get flagged.
Okay, y'all conservatives don't fall into the trap of being single issue voters.
Oh, yeah.
All right? Please don't do that. And, you know, the thing is, you know, conservatives, with all due respect, you put such a premium on things like this, and you'll end up drowning, you know, somebody trying to get them to walk on water. Don't do that, because we'll all suffer for it. All right? You can end up getting if you go down this road, you're going to split the vote, and we're going to end up with something much worse. Yeah. Don't do that over this issue. Even if you don't get what you want. Nobody gets everything they want. And I understand, y'all, the Second Amendment. You guys, I mean, you know, conservatives like to say, you know, the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. Yeah. But y'all, the First Amendment is being used to erode the Second Amendment. Ooh. The First Amendment is being used to take the way until it's going to be eliminated. Don't do this. Don't be so single voter oriented that this is the defining factor of whether you're going to keep Trump in office or not. Because you can end up with something much worse. Now, do I agree with Trump putting red flags? No, I don't. But y'all, that's why I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to make these cultural connections. You got to show in the culture how this works. It has to be illustrated in the culture. Trump is still a product of the culture, y'all. Yeah. These people don't appear out of thin air. Sure, he's done a good job of speaking truth to powers, but he's not a perfect person. There's some things that he's going to miss. Some things that he thinks that he's going to do that he thinks is right. Yeah. But we haven't promoted what this looks like in the culture. And what it looks like when we go off on things like this, it makes it look like we're so hung up on guns that we'll cut off our nose to spite our face. That doesn't look practical. It doesn't square up with us being common sense conservatives. You see what I'm saying? That's when it starts to make us look like, oh, we're these bitter gun clingers who can't see anything else except for our right to guns. We're so obsessed with guns that we'll throw Trump under the bus just because we don't like what he has to say about this policy.
Yeah.
That's not a good road to go down. Now, what hopefully we can get Trump to understand is like, look, man, who's going to decide? Who's going to make these decisions about who qualifies as crazy or not? You know, See, the whole gun issue, and once again, is anybody going to share? Maybe it's like you can put a timestamp on this and you can share things like this with the NRA and stuff, because I hadn't heard anybody talk about it. I hadn't heard anybody mention it. Nobody. See, the only thing I can hear people is being upset about this red flag law. But how the law should be, if there's going to be any law at all, it should not be the government determining these background checks and who qualifies as crazy and all that sort of stuff.
Amen. They're
not the factor in that. The Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So it's not supposed to be the government who's going to regulate how this works. When it says a well-regulated militia, who do you think is supposed to regulate the militia? The government? No, militias are formed when the government becomes too oppressive in the first place. It's not supposed to be the government who regulates a militia.
Right, yeah.
All right? And I know a lot of my conservatives understand that.
Yes.
But for some reason, that translation gets lost. It gets lost when it comes down to who is going to determine who is qualified to purchase a gun or not. You don't do a background check with the government validating who gets to qualify or not. That's not how that works.
That's not.
How it works is the free market agent, the person who owns the gun store, it's their responsibility, them alone. You come into my gun store, you want to buy a gun? Okay, well, I want to know a few things about you. Yeah, I have that right. You know why? Because I have the right to property. This is my establishment. See, these rights have to square up. All right? Yes, you have the right to keep and bear arms. Yes, you have the right to purchase a gun. I, as the store owner who own these guns, I have the right to the discernment of how I'm going to sell my property. I have that right. So me as a store owner with this inventory of guns, I have the right to check you out.
Yeah.
I want to know some things. Yeah, I want access to your history before I sell you anything. And if it looks okay according to my written criteria, then I'll sell you a gun. Now, in the culture and in the community, if this person takes that gun and they go and they do wrong with it, then the culture can come after the store owner and say, your discernment sucks.
Yeah. Your
policy on how you check people out sucks. And that person is going to suffer bad reviews.
Greatly, yeah.
And is most likely going to lose his business. That's how that's supposed to go down.
So you're saying the market, we need to hold each other accountable like how we used to.
That's right.
Not the government saying who can and cannot, who does and does not deserve to have a gun.
Uh-huh. That's how that's supposed to work. Wow. Okay? So a background check is not a bad idea. It depends on who does it. The government doing a background check, running a background check by the government, no. The only thing the government may be able to do is release the records. They can do that.
Right.
But it shouldn't be the government determining who's crazy and who's not, who's on meds and who's not. You got a whole bunch of people out there who are self-medicating.
Right, yeah.
You know, we got a sick problem with a self-medicating culture. All right? So, and these people, they demand these things. It's weird. It's so bizarre. The culture demands these things and then wants to use these things that they demanded to judge other people with it and determine on what they can own and what they can't.
Yeah.
That's how twisted up we are. See, the free market is supposed to take care of these things. But the liberals, they don't want us to have it. And the weird thing is, the liberals don't want us to have a free market. Meanwhile, they're the ones who take the best advantage of it. For the worst reasons.
Oh, my.
All right? Conservatives, we don't illustrate these things. There's so much material to work with. To illustrate the absurdity of liberals, there's so much. And we just don't support it, man. We could have people busting a gut all the time and say, really, am I like that? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I agree with laughing at oneself, but this is just too much. I've turned a new leaf. I don't want to laugh at myself anymore. I want to laugh at you. Because if this is what I am, this is not funny. Let me step back and not be one of these people anymore. Let me go ahead and laugh at you now. Because I'm not a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
We don't do that. I'm trying to be one of those folks, man, that's trying to bring that production company to. I've been trying. Try to show that there's a market of conservatives who want this. I haven't wanted to go to a liberal Hollywood producer to do it because it'll get corrupted.
Amen.
I've done this the hard way, y'all.
Amen.
The hard way. The hard way. Because I don't want it. I don't want this stuff to be twisted up by Hollywood.
Right.
That's why. Even by people who call themselves conservative producers and whatnot. No, they put their craft first. The art comes first before the kingdom. Even they will twist this up.
Yep.
I don't run these ideas by them. No. I don't want to join the union where my money is being taken to support Democrats.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to submit my scripts to these people. I don't want to do that. I've done this the hard way, y'all. If there's somebody who is not sold out, it's been me. Because I want to create a consistent production company with integrity to produce these products so we can have something that represents our value with some style and gusto. And Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google, they know it. That's why they don't want my work to get out there. They don't want this production company to ever come to pass. You know? But, it's just hard to get support for, y'all. It's unfortunate. Maybe I'm fooling myself into thinking that people will actually appreciate this effort to make sure that I'm not getting twisted up by these people and not going along with them and relying on you. You would be the proof of concept of saying that, yeah, we demand it. This is what we want. We don't want wishy-washy Christianity, feel-goodism productions that lead people to believe that Jesus is some all-accepting wishy-washy hippie.
Yeah.
Okay? There's what Jesus, and that he loves unconditionally. None of that stuff is true. There are conditions.
Amen. Yeah.
Didn't we just read it? If you keep my mitzvah, if you keep it, this is what I will do for you if. That's a condition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These are conditional.
And Jacob, when Jacob was with the Lord gave him conditions.
That's right. But they're promoting this idea that Jesus loves unconditionally and all this. So that's not true. Hey, Jesus, what do I have to do to be perfect? Sell all your stuff and give your money to the poor. That's my conditions for you. Well, I can't do that. Well, bye. That's right. Jesus was like, what's my man in Tombstone? Was it Curly Bill Broses? And Jesus, I want. What I got to do to be perfect? Sell your, liquidate your assets, man, and give it to the poor. Well, I don't want to do that. That makes me sad. Well, bye. Right? Conditions. Jesus' love is conditional. If Jesus knows you, he loves you. If he doesn't know you, he don't love you. And didn't Jesus say, hey, I don't know you? You know what that means? That means he don't love you.
Wow.
Right?
That's a frightening thought.
Ain't nobody showed love more powerful than Jesus. But Jesus can even say that, yeah, I don't know you. Right? So I'm trying to build a production company. I don't even know if I'm even close to getting started. Because there's the support for it just isn't there. But to create solid, entertainment to get out there and connect with the culture with, it's hard, man. My link's been up there the whole time. Bronze Serpent Media, there's a donation button. It's a contributor looking for investors. You know, invest, y'all. They don't have money for politicians, but they don't have money for cultural representation. Trying to do that. Where you don't have this wishy-washy, you know, Christian. I'm not trying to believe, because, you know, we're all trying to do our part. I get it. But there's this meeting that needs to take place where conservatism and Christianity need to mesh back together. Yeah. The fabric has been separate, and it's not supposed to be.
Amen.
Because the Word of God preserves when you have conservative interpretation of it. When you take liberties with it, the fabric tears. All right? We want to preserve our republic. You got to approach it with a conservative approach. Trying to bridge that, y'all. Get that back together where you have this entertainment that's consistent. All right? I've been trying to do that, but you know, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like folks don't see the importance. Those who have that, you got that donor class of conservatives. They don't see the importance of it. They don't.
I think they just don't know where to put their money. If they were to support any cultural effort, like, where do they start? And it
would help. You know, so it could start like right here. You know the folks who are these donor class people. Let them know. It takes testimony. Even Jesus relied on testimony.
Yeah.
It needs a testimony from people. Say, hey, we know this guy. He's trying to start a production company. You know, when you start getting on their nerves, and when they see that there's a market, when there's a popular demand for it, that's what perks them up. You know, but me saying, hey, I want some money to start a production company. Okay, well, where's your proof that anybody even wants this?
Right.
Right? Where's my proof? You guys could be that proof. Right?
Yeah, I always thought that Republicans should get together and have a counter to Will and Grace. Like, when that was going on and brainwashing the culture, Will and Grace, that show. Like, speaking of Deborah Messing being back in the news cycle. Right. I've just been wishing that Republicans would have gotten together and made a sitcom to counter that whole message. Yeah.
And it's like, once again, y'all, this not about me. Because as a production company, y'all, I want to scout. Looking for talent. Looking for solid people.
Amen.
Solid people who can deliver the goods while being rooted. You know what I'm saying? Being grounded in this. But can still deliver, you know, whatever content is with style and guts. That's what I want to do.
Amen.
I want to reach out to, I'm trying to create an army of artists. People who are not afraid.
Yes.
The people that I know, they're afraid.
Yeah.
We need people who are bold, you know, unafraid. Not so much unafraid as they have no fear, but just, you know, courageous. Say, yo, man, we got a republic to save, because without this, if we don't got this republic, then where's the freedom going to be to tell people the truth about the gospel? Get out there and talk the gospel. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we have this republic. That's why God blessed us with this republic. We're like the last place on earth where we're free to tell people the truth.
Amen.
That's what that First Amendment was for. Why do you think in the very first right of the First Amendment is to be able to have free religious exercise?
Yep.
That religion was pertaining to the gospel.
Amen.
Which the founding fathers, they kind of misworded, because it's not really a religion. But
that's true.
We'll take it. You know, once again, they weren't perfect.
Yeah.
They had the right idea. But this is what we're supposed to be able to tell people, because this right here is the preservation of liberty.
Amen.
All right? And we need people grounded in that. And people who can deliver content, whether it's music, movies, you know, acting, directing, writing. We need an army of these people, y'all.
Amen.
We need an army. And that's what I'm trying to establish. You know? But the people I know, don't use my name. You know, it's like, when they do things, they want to do it on the down low. And the problem is that the more you keep trying to do that, the more down low you're going to have to be.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not going to work. Got to step up. It didn't work. It didn't work for Peter. Peter tried to keep it on the down low. Yeah. At some point, he's like, "Yo, man, I got to step up."
That's true.
And he did. And he paid a heavy price for it. Sure. I don't know if you guys are going to have to pay the kind of price that Peter had to pay. I don't know if you're going to have to pay that kind of price. I hope you never do. What's the worst right now? The worst that can happen to you, you may lose your career. But I don't know if you're going to get nailed to a cross upside down.
Right.
which But if we keep going the way that we're going and keep hiding the way that we're hiding, you don't think that kind of persecution can't come to America?
Oh, it will.
What do you, I mean, just think about this. Think of how bad this can get. You know, they're always saying things like, you better be careful what you put on Facebook because, you know, potential employers, you know, might be looking at your Facebook page. Think about this. It can get so bad about how people hate Christians. If you don't get out there and start promoting, in this generation, it can get so bad how people hate Christians that you might need a doctor's appointment. And you go to see the doctor, and the doctor wants to use your name and look you up on a Facebook page. Find out where you're coming from. That doctor might be a screaming liberal.
Yeah.
You don't know. Doctor sorry, I don't mean to be like you know, try to scare people and stuff like that. But you don't think that can't come down? Where you can't even trust them. People don't trust their doctors now.
Right.
But you can have a doctor that may have animosity towards you because of your political beliefs. And it just so happens that a lot of doctors are liberals.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. So these are things that we might want to think of. You ain't going to solve that on a political level.
That's true.
You might want to start making yourself look a little bit more nicer. Not kissing butt, but give these people a little something they can relate to and show that, you know, we're not exactly bad. Give them something that's like that they can kind of laugh at before they get way too twisted up. Some of these people are so twisted now, you know, I don't know. It's going to take a miracle from God to bring them back.
Yeah.
If that's the case. But it has to be in their heart to kind of want it, you know. But other than that, y'all, you don't know how deep this. You may be underestimating how deep this can go. It can get pretty bad. The Word of God had already told us that it's going to get to a point where people can't buy and sell things anymore.
Right.
If you don't have this mark, if you don't square up with this tenant, if you don't square up with this, you don't have this mark, you ain't gonna be able to buy nothing. You ain't gonna be able to sell nothing.
Yeah.
The Word has already told us that it could be that bad.
You'll be excommunicated.
That's right. You don't think it can get that bad right now where people start messing with your health because of your political beliefs? Yeah. Or because of your faith? Let's stop messing around, man.
Indeed.
This stuff is coming down. It's coming down. We gotta make connections. It's no matter what, it's gonna happen. But maybe in this generation, you know, we could get the truth to a few people. You know? That's our job is. That's what our job is. Let people know the truth.
It is, yeah.
Point them to the Lord. And hopefully they can be caught into the kingdom too.
Amen.
That's our job. All right.
What you were saying about healthcare, Miley Hook, she says, in the doctor's office is bad here in New York. They're asking her kids if there's guns in the house. Yeah, Miley, when the federal government, when the Obama administration overhauled our healthcare system, they put questions that every person who sees a doctor now has to answer about guns being in the household. Every state, you have to answer that question.
That's right.
Just very intrusive questions. It's already happening.
It's none of their business.
It is none of their business.
Right? Like I was saying earlier, this is how background checks and gun laws are supposed to work. That stuff is supposed to be handled between the purchaser and the seller. That's how that stuff is supposed to work. And the seller has to have the discipline. We're supposed to be self-governing.
Right.
Has to have the discipline to make sure that his criteria has done its due diligence to responsibly sell a gun. If he did not, then the population, the free market, will deal with them. Okay? Now, I don't know if that would make him an accomplice. I mean, maybe to the degree of it. Like, say, for instance, this guy had no background check laws, and you just sold somebody a gun. Now, that might get into some accomplices. It's like, dude, you didn't do any sort of due diligence to check out these people.
Yeah,
None.
You just wanted the money.
You just wanted the money, and you sold them a gun to commit crimes with. That may be a whole nother argument. But I think the bottom line is that the seller of guns who has the property or the inventory of firearms, if he's going to sell, it's up to him to do the due diligence to make sure that this person is squared up to have a firearm. That's how you balance liberty. This is my property. If I'm going to sell it to you, I have the right to the discernment of whom I'm going to sell to. You don't just have the right to keep and bear arms. You do, but that has to square up with my property. And if I'm going to sell to you or not. That's between the individuals. All right? So anyway.
So, okay.
One more.
What would you... Oh, one more.
Oh, what do you got? Bro, want to eat.
Let's it's my birthday.
Okay. Yo, hey. Hold up. It's CJ's birthday. I'd have dropped the ball. Bad husband, bad.
How?
You can give me a spanky
Oh,
later.
jeez.
All right. Hey, so that was creepy, man. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just like-
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday
Oh,
to
honey.
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my woman. So I can say my woman. You have to say CJ. My woman, my woman.
Get down, honey.
Hey, hey, hey.
Okay.
My woman. So it sounds like you're trying to take a poop. Happy birthday
You always
to
have
you.
to take it there. That's funny because Brian Dale Ravensburger, right at the beginning of the show, he said, "How was your B-day? Are you gonna have Zoe sing for you? Sing happy birthday to you?"
I can sing.
You did make me a really awesome cake, though. Really good.
I can. Oh, it's almost like playing Jeopardy. It's like playing Jeopardy. When nobody's around, I can throw down on Jeopardy. Get people around like, duh. Right? Can't play Jeopardy. And it's like same thing like baking stuff. Like I can make stuff like just like awesome. Like, oh man, that dessert was bomb, or that dinner was bomb, and stuff like that. I try to do the same thing for somebody else. It's like, damn, this cake kind of dry. It's like, thanks for the crackers. So it's not a cracker. It's this cake. It really is.
Oh,
You know?
honey.
I don't know. For some reason, it's like being outside of Grayskull or something like that. It's like I can only have these powers like while I'm in Grayskull and can make her an awesome cake. But outside, it's like
Nobody else can taste it.
yeah.
All right, let's do this Glennis question because I'm encountering people who have the same issue.
Uh-huh.
So a friend of hers, she's asking, a friend of mine said Christians are telling him he's sinning because he's married to a white woman. Glennis, is he a black man married to a white woman? And these are black Christians that are telling him that he's sinning? I'm curious about that. They cited Deuteronomy 19:19. She says, I know that's not what that verse is saying, and I told him that. So let's read the verse, Deuteronomy 19:19.
Yes, let's read this.
It says cities of refuge. It's under that category. So 19:19 is, then you are to do to him just as he plotted to do to his brother. So you will purge the evil from your midst. Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with. And Glennis said she told him that.
What the corn does that have to do with
But I am encountering, Glennis, a few white women who are married to black men, and his black family is racist against, and they're Christians, people who have churches, and who go to church, they're very bigoted against white people.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, y'all, bigotry, people act like bigotry is something that's exclusive to white people. It is not. I mean,
Right.
Or this national pride. Oh man, it's just it's like, you know, how white people get the rap for this is just, it's unreal. You want to talk about, it does that, people may have missed like how racist like Japanese people people had the same kind of like Jim Crow laws too.
What?
It's like it's like, you know, no Chinese allowed. Chinese can show us like it's like no Chinese or dogs allowed.
Whoa.
Japanese had that. Japanese they hated Chinese folks.
Oh my.
Japanese were crazy ethnocentric. Japan like slaughtered over like 30 million Asians
Wow.
for not being Japanese.
Oh.
They were slaughtering the South Pacific, slaughtering the Chinese, Koreans. Oh, you're not Japanese. Kill you. All right? Japanese, very ethnocentric. China, you want to talk about Chinese nationalists? How nationalistic is China? Even the name China, Chinese don't call themselves China. The name for China is Zhongguo, I think. Zhongguo. And you know what it means? Center of the world.
Oh, wow.
The Chinese people believe that they are the center of the freaking globe. They are the central people. That's how nationalistic they are.
They didn't consult God.
Right? So when people be talking about, oh, how white people are, you know, all racist, like, no. This has been going on longer. And like when people act like, you know, like in culture, Chinese people are like the only people, or white people are like the only people who make fun of other people. And they only make fun of black people. They're always making fun of black people. Like you look at the cartoons. Oh, the cartoons were so racist. Such racist cartoons. Look at them making fun of black people. Cartoons make fun of everybody.
It's true.
And you know what? There's more white people to make fun of, and there's more white racial jokes than are anything else. You know why? Because there's so many cultures of white people to make fun of. You ever heard of a Polish joke? There's lots of those.
That's true.
Guess what? Polish are white people. There's lots of Irish jokes. Irish people are white people. There's lots of dumb blonde jokes. There's lots of white people who are blonde.
Sorry, Glenn.
Right? There's all these jokes. There's jokes about German people. You know, there's all these people are white. And there's lots of jokes and lots of insults that go along with that. So it's like this idea that all these jokes are racial jokes are like ethics. No. You look at cartoons, you know, they made fun of everybody. Who do you think Pepe Le Pew they were making fun of? French people. Right? Elmer Fudd, a doofus white dude who can't catch a rabbit.
Oh my.
In the Looney Tunes, they made fun of Irish people, Scottish people, everybody.
Yeah.
You know? But no, only black people get all sensitive because they made like a mammy character or something. I don't know. Like, we're the only people that ever got made fun of. You know what? That's just profound insecurity. That's all that is. Like we're the only people who made fun of. Oh, stop it. Stop it. You know, but anyway, to get down to this question of, you know, does the Bible say that interracial marriage is like, yo, the word of God put the stop on that with Moses and his wife. When Moses' wife was black. She was Cushite. Tells you so.
It tells you so.
Yeah, it tells. Zipporah was black. All right. Then there's the arguments of if Moses married a second time. No, even whether he was married one time or two times, one of his wives was black. Yeah. Okay, but Zipporah is the same person. Okay, so Zipporah was a Cushite, means she was black. In some translations, it says that she was Ethiopian. Ethiopia itself means black. I think the actual translation is burnt-faced people. That's what Ethiopia means. Ethiopia is synonymous with Cush. Cush itself means black. All right? Moses' wife was black. So, now, what did God do when somebody expressed bigotry towards Moses' black wife?
Gave Miriam leprosy.
Which means that, you know, and the word actually, which means that not only did he punish her, he made her extra white.
What?
That was her punishment.
Wait.
If he gave her leprosy, it's leprosy. This kind of leprosy is when like when Moses put his hand in his robe and pulled it out, God made his hand turn white, totally white with leprosy. All right. So her punishment for not approving of her black skin, God made her extra white.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, they almost practically made her an albino. So God issued a punishment for bigotry. He didn't tolerate it at all. It's like, oh, you got an issue with Moses' wife being black? Well, let me tell you what I think about that. Punishment. So now that right there speaks absolutely to what God thinks about it. The verse that, you know, your friend Glennis doesn't say anything. It doesn't say.
It's not her friend. It's the people who are telling him he's sinning. They're using that verse to tell him that he's sinning.
Sorry for getting that incorrect. But the bottom line is that verse is, man, you know what that's called? That's called being liberal with Scripture. That's so for those people out there who say that we conservatives are the original liberals, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. Because no matter what, liberalism, no matter how well-meaning you think it is, the ultimate trajectory of liberalism is to pervert. That's what it does. All right? Good. So when you got people out there, well, we're the real liberals, then you don't understand the nature of liberalism. You're just caught up in the guise of liberty. You're idolizing liberty, and you think liberalism has something to do with it. Ultimately, it doesn't.
Amen.
So, this idea that we're the original liberals or we're classical liberals, maybe you are. Maybe you are, but I'm not.
You're right. They're being liberal with the Word of God.
That's right. It's like you're not conserving to it. You got to be conservative with this interpretation. You got to adhere to it. You got to stick to the script.
Amen.
When you get liberal with it, though, that's when you end up with bigotry. Amen. When you're liberal with the Word of God. Because where in that verse, what does it have to do with race? You got to imagine that that's there.
You have to, yeah.
It's not reasonable to think that. You have to imagine that there's, what that is taking liberties or being liberal with Scripture. That's what happens.
Yeah.
All right?
So, yeah, they need to ask God to help them with discernment.
Show up.
Actually reading the Bible, opening it up and reading it.
Yeah.
Do you have time for one or two more?
One or two.
Okay.
Because I want to party. Well, I guess as far as using it, we are partying, huh? Partying up here in the ZOPium Den.
I was gonna say, this is my party. I'm having fun. I already had my cake, so.
That's right. It was good.
It was. Jeff Garlock. So, okay, going back to the flood and how many days the earth, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're stating that the earth was judged.
Mm-hmm.
Are you suggesting that there was a flood before Noah?
That's correct. That is correct. There was a flood before Noah. So, let's flip on back here. Let's do this. All right. Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was chaos and waste. The earth was chaos and waste. You can only have waste if there was something here to waste. All right? The earth was already here. What happened now? From there it says, darkness was on the surface of the deep, and the Ruach Elohim was hovering upon the surface of the water. All right, so check this out. The Holy Spirit is moving over the face of the deep. The earth was already here. It was waste. Why was it waste? Because it had been judged. God flooded the earth because there was already something here. And it tells us that in Ezekiel, in Isaiah, that Satan himself had kingdoms here. They were corrupt and perverse in their trade. And there was violence and all that sort of stuff. Word tells us this. All right? Before the garden was made, before Adam was placed in the garden, the earth was already here, but it was judged. All right? So that's when the Spirit of God is moving over the face of the water. That's why. Because he had judged the earth. Now, it's like, say, for instance, when, before I go on with my next point, I mean, I have to. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
All right. Because if I want to answer these questions, I don't want to take too long on doing one. If that's not okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I don't want to over explain things if I don't have to.
No, honey. No, you did a good job earlier.
Thank you. All right.
So, do you want to tell people about? I'm excited. Your new album, which got released basically like on my birthday for my birthday present.
That's right. Did I? Well.
Oh no, I meant to bring my CD that you gave me.
But we got. Can I get that one of the CDs out of the box?
Yeah.
My lovely assistant. Gonna show y'all something cool. All right. Well, I think it's pretty cool. Oh yeah. Bam. Electric Exodus on CD. You know, it's like y'all. You see, this is one of the things we want to put out there to culture, man. Don't y'all want people to party with the Lord in the sky?
Amen.
Don't we want people to be up there partying with us when the Electric Exodus happens? That's what we need to be putting out in the culture, y'all. There's a party in the sky waiting for us. That's right. That's right here. So now, as you guys, I've let the cat out of the bag. I now have an inventory of CDs. They just came in for me. Okay. Now, what this is why I was, grumbling like earlier, because y'all may know that we did a tour like a few years back, and people contributed to the tour. And one of the rewards that they were supposed to get was a signed copy of this album. Now, it's like they contributed, they gave money, right? And I've been trying, to contact these people, our blessed contributors, and trying to contact and say, hey, the CD is here. The reward that you were supposed to get.
Amen.
You're supposed to get a signed copy from me. That's what you guys, I thought you wanted that. I think only 3 people have responded. And there were several, y'all. There was a lot of them. I mean, y'all, we raised like over $30,000 in 45 days. Right?
Yeah.
Before they really started putting the squash down on our content. Because after we had raised the money and we were getting ready to go on tour, we couldn't tell anybody that we were on tour because I would try to promote that, hey, we're coming to your town. And the message would not get out there. Yeah. They really started to put the squash down. I still got people say, hey, dude, when are you guys going to come sledge in this area? Dude, we were there. But you didn't know because, the notification never got to you.
Yeah, Facebook squashed it.
Right? Sucks. So, but at any rate, this right, I got to wait. But however, you can still get the CD. You just can't order it from me. Not yet, because these are on, I haven't put up a link that you can order these from me yet, because I'm trying to give those who contributed to the tour a chance to respond to me so they can get their CD.
Yeah.
These right now, these CDs belong to them. So after a week, if I hadn't heard from the folks who wanted to get a CD, then I'll open these up for you guys to get. And hopefully I'll have a number for you, and I'll try to make it to where, you know, if the first, I don't know, 50 or 100, you know, contact me to get a CD, you'll get a signed one if you want one. But like I said, that's why I was like, it's like, dude, I'm nice. I want to be able to hook that up for you. But that's why I was like saying, y'all, dude, is it that Facebook is squashing me, or did my own, you know, audience, did they bail on me? Because I'm contacting these people directly. I'm emailing them directly, and they're not responding. I'm like, dude, did they just...
That's weird.
Are they gone? Did they just don't care about my work anymore? You know, I mean, I get it, man. Some people do that. But the thing is like, I don't want to be looking at the wrong thing. I don't want to be blaming Facebook if it ain't really Facebook. Facebook, like, look, man, we're not blocking your stuff. Your audience just doesn't care. That's just really what comes in. They just tossed you aside, man. Maybe you need to just deal with that. You know? So, you know, it's like, you got Facebook, you got Twitter, you got Google, you got YouTube. They're doing weird things, but I don't, like I said, I don't want to be blaming the wrong thing. I don't want to be blaming my audience. You know, my audience is like, dude, seriously, we don't see your content anymore. And if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. That I totally understand. But when I'm contacting you directly, or if I tag you and stuff like that, and you're not responding, I'm like, well, that's not, I can't blame Facebook or Twitter, or YouTube, or Google. That's well, actually, I have to blame myself, because maybe whatever it is I'm producing just doesn't interest folks anymore. It just comes down to that. It's like, I don't want to put the blame on somebody else. Maybe my work just sucks. You know, and people are just like, dude, it's not worth sharing with anybody. It's just not worth it.
But they contributed to get the CD.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you're trying to do is get
right?
what they contributed.
Yeah, you contributed, so I'm just trying to give you what you paid for. You know, but even with that, you know. So, at any rate.
But it's a beautiful presentation. I wish they could see the inside of it.
Yeah, it's got the
lyrics are all there, and
lyrics,
they're amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But right now, the CD is available at Rocks Records. I'll put up a link if you guys want to get the CD at its discounted price right now. Because when it goes for sale for me, I'm gonna charge you a little bit more. Why? Because it's gonna have my signature on it. Just like my book, as Alan West, but he signed it for free.
He hasn't ditched you.
Right. All right, y'all. We good?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go get the foods, and but we want to send y'all out humbly with the Lord's shalom, and may He be about y'all, and may y'all be about Him.
Yes.
And be that salt and light in the culture. Inspire folks that you come in contact with. May His word strengthen you and, you know, give you energy. And have you, you know, feeling tip top even when you don't. Just know that you know, He is protecting you even when the enemy is coming against you and trying to, you know, do things to keep you down. The Lord is with you and giving you strength. And you know, the world is going to do what it's going to do, and it's going to run its course in the temporary, but eternally the Lord is going to run His course. Amen. And that's the side that we want to be on. Yes, thank you. All right, y'all. Shalom. And sledge on.